Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turned out a poem 641, Size Circumscribes. It has no room. She only uses this word circumscribes one time in all of her poetry, and it is here. And of course, we want to pay attention as well to these S sound, size circumscribes, as we get into our study here. We're one more time back to the study of perspective. Emily is the great poet of perspective. She's always reminding us that everything is about the way we see things, perspective. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 640 poems. We just finished with 640, I Cannot Live With You. And if you've done that reading with us, then you can place this poem alongside a number of others where Emily will play the game of size comparisons. Now, many have pointed out that Emily is always referencing her small size, and some have seen the voice of this poem as the voice of a prodigious child, quote unquote. Size circumscribes. It has no room for petty furniture. The giant tolerates no gnat for ease of giantry. Repudiates it all the more because intrinsic size ignores the possibility of calumnies or flies. Now, of course, we hit the word flies and we can't help but think of 465. I heard a fly buzz when I died. Now, this is a fascinating poem because Emily will play the game of showing the differences in understanding by virtue of size, and yet at the same time we can speak about this in this poem quite literally or metaphorically. The imagination here, of course, is that a giant doesn't have to worry about little things like flies. Notice she'll begin by pointing out that size circumscribes because it has no room for petty furniture. In other words, the giant that she'll get to here in a little bit doesn't need to worry about all the small things in the world. The giant is what the giant is. Now, of course, Emily can be speaking about this as a metaphor, no doubt, as well. In other words, we have a tendency to kind of limit our perspective, and we don't get to see the full view, the full picture. Notice the word petty. I think it's a key word for this poem. The giant, she says, tolerates no gnat for ease of giantry. In other words, when one is large, one doesn't have to worry about all the little small things. And then the word repudiates takes us back to our study in 365. We'll see it again in 1356. It all the more. In other words, the larger a giant is, the less it gives any consideration to that which is smaller. Why? Because intrinsic size, we're back to that word at the beginning of the poem, ignores the possibility of calumnies or flies. Now, it is altogether possible that Emily is saying this as a fact of nature, but she could also be saying this as maybe a challenge to the very notion that epistemologically we draw our conclusions and we often haven't taken in to full size. Calumnies, of course, suggesting here that maybe some things have been said that one should take into consideration, but one just does not take into consideration. I think that at 2a, Emily is making the argument that everything is about perspective in the end. At 2b, I love all the S sounds of this poem. At 3a, I can't read a poem like this and not think about our study of Swift's Gulliver's Travels. We've given full lectures at learnstrong.net. Of course, Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass. Notice in both of those texts, size will determine attitude in large measure. Yes, and of course with Gulliver, you'll remember that in one iteration, he is of course the giant, and in the second iteration, he is of course the little tiny, taking the different perspective, if you will. Of course, I can't help but think of Golding's Lord of Flies here as well, because if you'll think about it, one way to read Lord of Flies in a poem like this, I think is very instructive, is to say, well, think about how epistemological knowledge is variant, dependent upon what perspective one takes in that novel itself. Finally, at 3b, to own a poem like this, when was the last time that you had to come to terms with the differences in size and the way that it's circumscribed? Thank you.